John Lauritsen's live at the state capitol with their demands. John?
Hi, Frank. Yeah, that started at the state. We're here at the state capitol. That started at the governor's mansion, as you mentioned earlier today, and then led to a march down Summit Avenue. Thousands of people ended up here at the capitol tonight. It's been very peaceful, but I want to show you what's going on right now. It's after 10 o'clock here. Of course, that means the curfew, and we have what was once thousands of protesters now, probably about 30 or so, I'm guessing, still sitting here. It appears that they're willing to get arrested, so we'll watch what happens here over the next several minutes. You can see police in the background. We do have National Guard here as well. You can if you go off to the side here to my left, you'll see that there are some National Guardsmen here as well. So we'll see what happens with the way this goes the next few minutes. Earlier this afternoon at the governor's mansion, as we talked about, St. Paul police estimated more than 2,000 people showed up to listen to a number of speakers from a number of different organizations. They are demanding that the remaining officers involved in the fatal arrest of George Floyd be arrested. They also called on Governor Walz to appoint a special prosecutor to the case, saying they don't believe Attorney General Keith Ellison can fairly prosecute the officers involved. As we mentioned before, the crowd marched from the governor's mansion down Summit Avenue all the way to the Capitol. Many we talked with said they want to be a part of justice and change.
It's unacceptable, and I'm sick of it too. I mean, I'm not black, I'm Mexican, but, I support all the way, and enough is enough.
Well, me being half white, I need to use my privilege to speak up and do whatever I can to, fight injustice, fight this systemic racism, everything that's going on in our country. It's just not right.
On the perimeter outside the governor's residence, a sign of unity today. St. Paul police took a knee during the protest moment of silence. We have seen officers in other cities do this, but this is the first time we've seen it here in Minnesota in such an organized effort. And Frank and Amelia, we've seen a lot of very powerful images like that today. We've seen protesters interacting with police, asking them to march with them. Here on the steps of the state capitol, where some people are maybe about to be arrested, we actually saw National Guardsmen hugging protesters, a lot of back and forth, some very powerful moments that have been nice to see. I want to show you one more time here. Just, I would say, if I were to do a head count, maybe 30 protesters still left here, a younger crowd, much thinner than it was earlier tonight. We had thousands of people beginning at the governor's mansion down Summit Avenue, and it's just thinned out over time. But it looks like this crowd right here is set on possibly getting arrested now that we're past curfew. Guys.
All right, John, keep us posted. We'll check back in as things develop there. Thank you. Live in St. Paul at the Capitol.
Well, it has been about a half hour since the mandatory curfew went into effect here in Minneapolis and St. Paul, and there have been two peaceful protests that have been going on, one in Minneapolis, one at the state capitol, which is a smaller group, and we go there now to John Lauritsen because the arrests have started, John?
Yeah, they have. Peaceful protest through much of the day ended up here at the Capitol. Started with a few thousand people back at the governor's mansion, went down Summit Avenue, and then they had a rally here at the Capitol. But as you can see behind me, this is what's happening now. You're seeing arrests being made. The State Patrol did come in. There were about 40 protesters or so left. I actually got caught in the middle of that. They had warned us to kind of move off to the side, and my mistake, I was on my phone, so initially I was in the middle of those arrests, but was not arrested myself, just detained, I guess is what you would say, and then released when I showed my press badge. So just caught in the wrong place at the wrong time here, but they're making arrests. There's not a lot of, from what we can tell from here, a lot of people resisting too much. It's been really a peaceful day, starting at the governor's mansion. Some really powerful images we've seen today, too, with some officers and state patrolmen kneeling with protesters at one point. You can see that right now, obviously, they mean business. They're in their riot gear. We've seen the National Guard here as well. There have been chants even as the arrests have been taking place, but it's quieting down quite a bit now, guys. But pretty exciting few minutes. The crowd, again, a few thousand people, thinned out over time as the night went on. Curfew came at 10 o'clock. And then there's probably about 40 protesters left that seemed pretty determined that they were going to stay here until they were arrested. So they're taking them into custody right now, and it looks like they're putting handcuffs on people right now, and or at least detaining them into custody, taking them into custody, and trying to clear the space out right in front of the state capitol.
So, John, they were pretty resigned to the fact that they were going to be arrested at some point.
They seem that way, yeah. In fact, they kind of given a warning here. We'll show you one more shot just to kind of give you. Demaya can kind of even show you the line that's been made here, and the way they've spread out across the lawn here. There's about 40 protesters. They have been peaceful throughout the evening. They kind of gave us a warning. I got caught in the middle of that. I was taking some pictures on my phone, like I mentioned earlier, and was pushed to the ground and put in the middle of it. But again, I show my badge. We got out of there, and here we are now. So you can see that these are not law enforcement we've seen most of the night, but I know they've been in the area.
All right. Okay. Thank you, John. His death has sparked outrage and action all across the country. This afternoon, thousands gathered in St. Paul demanding all of the officers involved be held responsible. Our John Lauritsen was with them on their march. He joins us again from the state capitol. John?
Yeah, it started with about 2,000 protesters at the governor's mansion, went down Summit Avenue, and here at the Capitol tonight, there were about 40 protesters left. This was a pretty peaceful event all day long, but about 40 protesters left that decided that they were going to be arrested. They sat on the Capitol grounds after curfew, and they were chanting and just having a peaceful protest overall, but it was after curfew. The State Patrol came in and law enforcement and are making arrests right now. You can see this happening right in front of us, putting people, looks like in zip ties, then moving them off the Capitol grounds. We haven't seen any struggles yet or anything. When they came in very swiftly. They did give me a warning, gave us a warning, but I ran the wrong way, got caught in the middle of this, and got pushed to the ground, but I was only detained temporarily. I showed them my press pass, and they let me out of there. It looks like State Patrol is in riot gear here is who's making these arrests. There was a warning in my case, and I just happened to go the wrong way. But the protesters, again, very peaceful tonight. They've had a message all night long, chants for George Floyd, chants for justice for George Floyd. They want to see a special prosecutor in this case. They want the rest of the officers involved in the fatal arrest of George Floyd arrested as well. And they don't want Keith Ellison as the Attorney General prosecuting this. Again, they want somebody from the outside doing this, guy. So you can see more arrests being made here. I think they're probably making pretty good progress on this now. There wasn't a very large crowd left, maybe 40 people. But again, we haven't seen anybody struggling or anything. We haven't seen anybody that's resisted arrest so far. And they continue to kind of operate the Capitol grounds here right in front of us as the night goes on.
All right, John. Thank you.
John.